Good morning, guys. So today is Fancy Friday, and today we are going to talk about being indispensable or indispensable. Let's get into it. So, indispensable. Let's talk about that as specifically now as a programmer within your software company or software team or anything like that. Now, I'm not gonna lie. It is, I think, a pretty attractive thing for a lot of people to, if when depending on how you think about it, being indispensable is kind of nice. It makes you feel special. It makes you feel like this important piece of somebody else's reality. And I think it's a nice thing. Like it's really, I mean, your spouse or your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you have. I mean, it feels nice to feel that you're special to somebody and that they can't really get by without you. That feels nice. It's nice, very nice. And in the workplace, it's the same thing. Who doesn't want to be the go-to guy or girl for what you call? I mean, especially if you're like me and you like to help people. It's really nice to feel that, people depend on you. You feel that people appreciate you and that they really need you to help out and be a part of the work day, and they come to you for help, and they come for you with different issues that you can solve for them. I mean, it feels great. It feels great to feel wanted. It's I think it's the most natural thing in the world. And for the most part, those are, that's the way it is, and it's something that I think feels absolutely amazing. But one thing that is not so nice about being indispensable is that you can never really get a break. What do I mean by that? Let me tell you a story. So just the other day, I basically, we were working on this. I've been for the past month basically working on a new flagship feature for my company. It's a fairly big feature, and we've been working on it for quite a while. It's ready to be released now, which is pretty cool. And basically what usually happens in software development, which shouldn't be the case, but you slice things up, especially when they're very big, and each person in the software company, or each person who's going to work on it, takes a piece of that problem and starts working on it. Now, in my experience, what usually happens is that when you are doing something like that, you are perceived as owning that problem, and that brings with it two things. If you are perceived by people to own that, usually what happens is that they come to you for every single issue that is related to that thing, because you built it, therefore you should, logically the most about it. And I think that is absolutely true. It is true, the most about it. The issue that usually comes with that is that a lot of software developers, a lot of programmers will treat the fact that somebody else started a piece of work and has worked on it for a long time as if it's like their job you're a team, but people still treat it very much so like I'll just, this guy is gone, I'll just, let it be and wait until he comes back, or something of that nature, so that the work stops, like the story is not being worked on by anybody else because you started it. And people are very reluctant in the software industry to start to pick up something somebody else just left off halfway through. It's very, very common. I see it all the time. And that's a problem, because what happens is that means that you, as Mr. or Mrs. Indispensable, you cannot trust that, because remember, you're there to ship software. That means that if you're not there, nothing's happening. And that's bad. And I'll tell you why. And I have two stories actually. But so basically I got sick. And because I got sick, and have been working on this flagship feature for a long time, I got very worried. And I got worried because at my last job, I'm not saying that this was always the case, but at my last job, I had a little bit of a special, think of it as a specialist position for front-end development, basically. And I found very often that if I was sick, my part of whatever was happening was completely still, like it never moved. My colleagues who felt a little bit uncomfortable with the stuff that I was working on, like it was very often that nothing actually kept on moving. And that means that now I feel this anxiety because I'm not at work. Now, because it feels as if you can't be sick, you can't be gone, you can't just leave work at work. And because I felt that, and this is me being in the company for roughly 4 months now, I was still on Slack, in bed. I was in my sofa with high fever and like snot coming out of every orifice I have, and I couldn't let it go because I needed to feel that that I wasn't holding up the job, or rather I wasn't holding up the shipping of the feature. And what's beautiful was that in the 5 days, I think, or 4 days, I was in bed, out of work, out of the office, and I started by saying to my colleagues, if you need anything, if you need any questions answered, anything, like just Slack me, send me a mail, something, I'll reply. I come in Thursday, basically, sit down, look through the logs, the Git logs, and just to see what's happened since I was there. My colleagues have picked up my task, finished it, written tests, and even improved. They rewrote some stuff that I wasn't really happy about that I made because it was absolutely crap. And they're in the testing phase now of the feature. And I swear to God, and just as I'm sitting there being so impressed with how smoothly everything went, my colleagues come by and say, yeah, we've really missed you, Frederick. It's been so empty here in the office without you. And I just sat there and I felt how awesome is I was out of words. It felt amazing. And I actually said that to them. I said that I want you to know that for someone who's been in a position where you felt like it feels really nice to be able to be sick. And they kind of went, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Do you like being sick? No. I'm not saying I like being sick. Nobody likes being sick, I think. But it's very nice to feel that I can be sick if I want to. Because although it feels very nice to be a little bit indispensable and being like feeling special and being that go-to person for a lot of stuff, it's not always nice, because there's a bit of stress involved in always having to be on hand for everything. And when I was gone here, guys, I sat and I was expecting you to just keep on to like contact me and ask me for help, and like, or rather that nothing would change. That the feature would be delayed until I was healthy again. But here you are. That you've shipped it, or basically you've finished it without me, and I still feel as if I'm a valued part of the team. Because you don't want to be on the other extreme where it doesn't really matter if you're there or not. You want to have that sweet spot between being valued as a coworker and being a part of the team, but you also want to be able to just be away and not be on hand all the time and feel that everything's gonna just work out without you. And I think that's something that I experienced, and it felt just the other day, and it felt absolutely amazing. So to you guys out there, being indispensable, it feels really great, but it feels pretty great as well that you're not so critical that you can't be sick or just be away. So I urge you, try to make sure that you work as a part of a team where you are appreciated as a part of that team, but you're not indispensable. Because being indispensable feels nice sometimes, but sometimes it's not so nice. And trust me, you don't want to be in a situation where you can never allow yourself to have some vacation or be sick or anything like that. So try to find that sweet spot, and that sweet spot you get by getting really cool and really good colleagues.